Welcome back to another edition of the Arnold's Thoughts podcast. In this segment of Keys to the Game, we're going to go over the 3 risks that you will have when starting a life of overseas basketball. Now, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Now, what are the 3 risks that possibly could happen to you when you're starting a life of overseas basketball? Number 1, health and safety risks. Now, when you're starting this life of overseas basketball, when you go out to these countries, there's a lot of health issues that you will deal with when you first get started. When you go to, let's say, Mexico or anywhere in Latin America. From my experience of going into Latin America, the first thing you're always going to have that's always going to mess with you first, your stomach is going to be messed up. Strictly from dealing with the water. The water it just takes time for your body to get adjusted to the water. You're going to have a lot of stomach issues. You're going to have a lot of problems when dealing with the water in the beginning, and you have to drink water. And a lot of times it's going to happen where they're going to put their water in your water. They normally go and buy purified water and things like that to not give to the players, but eventually you got to understand they're using it to wash, they're using it to clean with everything, and the water is not just from when you drink. It's going to get absorbed into your skin a lot of the times, so it's going to affect you. Your health is a big aspect of the game that you need to focus on. That is a risk that you're going to come across when starting overseas or when playing in these other countries. Now, I advise, or what I would say is, make sure you just stay up on your vitamin C, stay up on your immune system. You're going to a whole different area, zone, a whole different type of culture, and your body is not equipped to handle the culture of what is in that area. It can't sustain the same way of where you've been. It's got so used to where you've been at in whatever state and country that you lived in, that when you go to a whole different area, it's going to affect you big time. I'm talking about it has affected me in almost every different country. When I go to China, when I go to Colombia, when I go to Argentina, through the years, I've built up a strong immune system because I know, okay, I'm going to a different country. I need to make sure my health is up to par. So I really focus on what I eat. I really focus on the vitamins that I take. Go get health checkups before you leave. Make sure you consult a doctor when you get there. Ask questions to what are the most common problems in this country? What are the most common foods? You're not going to be used to these things, and they're going to affect you. I see guys get sick almost every single time I go to another country and another team and a new player comes. Within the first 2 weeks, they get sick. Always happens. So make sure you guys bring them vitamin C's. Make sure you're staying up to date on whatever shots or whatever it is that you need to keep your body at optimal defense. Keep your body up to date. The second risk that most players run into is financial risk, because in this life, hate to say it, but you're going to be going through a lot of financial crisis when dealing with teams, with dealing with money transfers, and that's something that you need to understand before you even get started, because sometimes teams don't pay. Teams do not pay. They don't like to always give you your money that you have worked for, even though it's your money. Like I always say, like if you from the old school, J.G. Wentworth, it's my money and I want it now. It's not always like that. I know you sign a contract. I know you may have an agent, but your money sometimes is not always going to arrive when it's supposed to. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that every athlete who's played overseas has dealt with, and that is money issues. Myself, in this current situation that I'm in, it's very difficult for me to send money back home. If I can't send the money back home and put into my account, I'm just having an overflow of cash on me, which is something you should never have because, hate to say it, but these people are like most people in other countries are grimy if they just see. I don't even say in other countries, but if you have an excess amount of money, say you've been in a country for over 2 to 3 months, you're going to have an excess of cash just laying around. That is a risk in itself. I don't care what part of the world you're at. You should never have just more than $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in cash just laying around for anybody at any time. That is a risk that you're putting yourself into. Even more so when you go to travel back home. When you go to travel back home and you're in the airport, you're only allowed to have $10,000 on you at a time. So if you've been playing in the season and you're not been able to transfer the money, that's over, and you have over $10,000. If you get caught, if they search you, if you just get the random check, and I hate to say it because of what I look like, I'm just speaking on me for both. For what I look like, big, tall, black guy with dreads, we might have to check you. I don't get mad at the situation. It is what it is. I'd rather avoid these types of situations instead of acting like, why are you picking on me? It is what it is. Instead of being mad about it, do something about it. Be smart about it. So the risk of not being able to send your money is something that you need to pay attention to. Make sure before you get to these teams, you talk, put it in your contract, because sometimes teams will not pay for you to have your money sent. Make sure that is in your contract that you have your money being able to get sent back home and they have to pay for it. That is part of the contract. They have to pay for the fines. They have to pay for it to get sent. And it has to be wire transferred to your account to avoid later situations, to avoid having an excess amount of cash on you. You do not want an excess amount of cash, especially in another country, and risk something. At least you know when I go home, I got my money in my account waiting for me. So you don't want that. That's a risk we are definitely trying to avoid, the financial risk. And the third is legal risk. The legal risk that you could possibly deal with. Now, I have a story about this because I have dealt with this to the T. I went into a different country. I overstayed my welcome, and I almost went to jail. I almost went to jail because I stayed over the time that I was supposed to stay in the country. You can go through legal risk of these types of situations. Overstaying your welcome can really hurt your chances and really put you in a tough position when you're overseas and you're just with your team. I hate to say it, but not every team is paying attention to your legal rights. They're not making sure that you are in good standings by the country's laws. I've been a part of it. You would think y'all brought me over here. You know I'm here for an extended amount of time. You know I need certain paperwork that says that I could be here for this amount of time since I am not a citizen. But they are not. That honestly, it's not the first thing on their brain. It's not the first thing that they're thinking about is make sure that he's in good legal standards. They will let your situation expire. You can get in a lot of trouble in a lot of situations where it is bad on your end, that you can end up going to jail for playing basketball in another country, for not having the proper visas, work visas, trying to be over here and thinking that I'm just here for, I'm traveling, and they find out that you're actually working here. Make sure these things are cleared up before you leave. What type of visa do I need? What type of situation am I getting into? What is the standard for how long I can be here before I have to leave? You stay on top of it. You make sure that you are putting these things first. Make sure that you are aware of the time that you can spend in another country. Don't let that time expire. If you follow my content, you know I spoke about this before. I overstayed my welcome. I got deported. I was not able to earn no more money. I was not able to see my daughter's birth. And it was just a detrimental time because one mistake, not paying attention, got me into a lot of legal situations, and I was deported primarily from a country. And to this day, I haven't went back to the country because I wasn't paying attention to the legal risks of the country. Just because you're going to these other places and these other teams and situations and everything seems good, you still have to do your own research, and you still have to make sure that you are focusing on yourself and focusing on the things that you need so you do not get yourself in a financial or a legal binds with the country you are in, because everybody, every culture, every country has different legal standings when it comes to the citizens. And you are not a citizen. You got to understand that you are not a citizen. You are alien to that country, so make sure that you pay attention to the legal standings of that country. That's all we got for this episode of Keys to the Game. I hope these keys help you guys improve, get ready, and take your game to the next level. Make sure you guys like and share this with someone. That's all we have. Until next time.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you listen to your podcast. I greatly appreciate it.